What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Pro. Welcome back to a brand new video. We are here. We are back. And listen, man, this is the official 2025 NBA mock draft that we're going to be putting out there for you guys to see. Now, this mock draft is kind of going to be a combination of a few things. It's going to be what I predict the teams to do based on rumors and all that, but also what I recommend and what I want the teams to do if I were to be their GM. So it's going to be a combination of both, but ultimately we're going to be making one pick for every team, kind of taking both things into account. And yeah, let's just get right into it. So I do want to say this is after the Porzingis trade. This is after the Anthony Simons trade. This is after, I believe there was one more trade that I'm missing. The CJ McCollum to the Wizards trade. It's after all that. So you're going to be getting the updated draft order. And I will be doing a couple of trades if necessary as well. I have one in mind that I want to do, but I'm not sure if I should do more than one or if I should do just one. But as the order goes on, as the draft goes on, if there is a need to make a trade, I will make another trade. So this is with trades. Right now, I have one confirmed trade that I will be doing, and you guys will see that pretty soon. So let's get right into it. Leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Yeah, we've stalled enough. Let's get right into it. So the number one overall pick, I think Cooper Flag is obvious. We're gonna select him here. We're gonna select Dylan Harper to the Spurs as well. This is also obvious. The reason is I think, stick and pick, take the best player available. Unless someone calls you with an offer you can't refuse, Dylan Harper is that guy to pick if you're the Spurs. And then you go to number 3. And that is when the chaos starts. Because over here, you got options if you're Philly. And if you would have told me that they had options and they were like debating on a lot of these different options before like last month, I would have called you crazy. But because of the fact that Ace Bailey's stock is falling and falling and falling, and because he has declined to work out and he does not want to go to Philly, he does not want to go to Charlotte, he does not want to go to Utah, it is very interesting to see whether the Sixers are just going to take him no matter what, or whether they're going to actually not take him because he doesn't want to be there and take someone else, or maybe even do something that I think they should do, is trade the pick. Now, y'all want to see who the trade partner is, right? Here we go. There is a certain team in the NBA draft that has 5 first-round picks. And I was thinking to myself, why would they have 5 first-round picks? They're not going to draft 5 players in the first round, are they? Well, the answer is no, they're not. And guarantee you guys, I put everything on the line when I'm saying this. A trade will be made with the Brooklyn Nets tomorrow on draft night. I don't know if it's going to be this trade, but I would want them to do this. Philadelphia sends the 3rd overall pick to the Nets. Nets trade number 8, number 19, number 22. Both teams get 3 picks each, 3 first-round picks each. So again, Philly doesn't want to pick 4 people. Brooklyn doesn't want to pick 4 people. 3 is, I think, a good number. They get the best picks to give away the 3rd pick. So send this in. Let me know if y'all happy with that. And this is what the Nets are going to do. So one of the destinations that the Nets were actually on was the list of Ace Bailey. Ace Bailey said that he would be down to go to Brooklyn, Washington, or New Orleans. Well, Brooklyn has just traded up Ace Bailey, so they're going to draft you at number 3. And then at number 4, Charlotte is on the clock. I think Charlotte is very happy in the situation because they have, I think, the best player available, and I think a top 3 player on my particular board. VJ Edgecombe falls perfectly and slides perfectly in this 2 spot next to LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller. Crazy hyper athlete, highlight reel of a player, defensive upside, crazy athleticism. I mean, everything you want in a shooting guard. VJ Edgecombe has that Victor Oladipo, Anthony Edwards type play style. Love his game. Utah is at 5 now, and Utah doesn't really have a lot to work with. I'm not gonna lie, they don't really have a ton to work with. They got a few players here and there that could be good for them, but overall, Utah could use some everything. Honestly, they could use a lot. So in this situation, I will have them going with my best player available. I think it's going to come down between 3 players for them on draft night. I think it's going to come down to Ace Bailey if he's available. I think it's going to come down to Con Canoopel. But I think the player that I want to have them selecting is the player that I think they might select as well, and that's Trey Johnson out of Texas. Great floor spacer, but can do a lot more than just space the floor. He can put the ball on the floor. Averaged 20 points a game at Texas. I think he's the best player available. We're going to draft him over here as the Utah Jazz. Then you got the 6th pick, the Washington Wizards. Now, before the trade, I probably wouldn't have had them selecting this player, but because of the fact that they have traded away Jordan Poole, well, ding, 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 there's an opening at the point guard position that they have that they need to fill. I know Bub Carrington is there, but he's more of a combo. We're going to have him select a point guard by the name of Jeremiah Fears. Now, there's a discussion between Fears and Jakučionis. Both provide different things. I feel like with this specific team, I like Fears better. I'm going to go Fears here. Fears is the more athletic. He's better at the rim. He's the worst shooter and the worst playmaker, but he is a faster player. He's very speedy. He's very athletic. He's he's like your D Rose, Westbrook, Ja Morant type play style, whereas Jakučionis is more of the playmaking point guard type. So Fears, I think, is a player that the Wizards love. We're gonna draft him here. At 7, New Orleans can go a few different directions here. I think New Orleans has a lot of ways they can play this. They did trade away CJ McCollum. They have Jordan Poole, but Jordan Poole, DeJounte Murray, are they going to be there long term? I'm not too sure. I think they have an abundance of wing players in Trey Murphy, in Herb Jones, in Jordan Hawkins, in Zion Williamson. I still think they lack a true point guard, and that is where Kasparas Jakučionis out of Illinois comes into play. I mean, this guy, I've watched him more than anybody in the draft as a former Illinois alum. I've watched Kasparas and Will Riley more than anybody else in the class, and I can tell you all their strengths and weaknesses to a T. Now, Kasparas is a great playmaker and a great shooter, and great size, brings great size at the point guard position. But the problem with Kasparas is that he will turn the ball over quite a bit, and he likes to make the risky passes. He likes to thread the needle between 2-3 players and make the crazy pass rather than make the simple pass sometimes. He plays at a very good pace, so I think that'll fit New Orleans' style. I think a lot of the shooters will love him. I think Zion will love him if he's healthy. We're going to go Kasparas here. If you can control his turnovers and keep him to limited, I think he'll be fine. Philadelphia is on the clock at number 8. I think this is a perfect pick for them if they pick Kon Knuppel over here. I think this guy fits Philadelphia to a T. I'm not going to lie. I think Kon is probably the highest floor player left on this board. And Philly's in a unique situation because I think with Philly, you're not really looking for upside and all that. You're looking for guys who can help you play right now, and Kon will definitely do that. This is a team that, when fully healthy, they want to contend. So Kon is going to help them with that. He's a very high floor player. I think a lot of people label him as 3-and-D. I think he can do a little bit more offensively than what he's given credit for at times. We're going to have him being taken at number 8. Now at number 9, Toronto is on the clock. Now, Toronto has a certain type of player. They like a certain type of player. They love length and they love raw tools that they can work with, especially defensively. The two guys that really scream Raptor to me is number 1, Kaman Malach, and number 2, Noah Essengay. Now, Noah Essengay has come out and said that his favorite players that he looks up to are Pascal Siakam, Scotty Barnes, Kawhi Leonard. I'm not really sure if this is a sign that he wants to go to Toronto or whether Masai promised him, but I would not be surprised if Toronto ended up picking Noah Essengay at number 16. I would not be shocked whatsoever. On the other hand, the Raptors are a little bit tight at center. Jakob Poeltl is there, but how long does he have with your team? You know, I feel like not a guy that you think will fit your timeline. He's a really good player, don't get me wrong. I think he's a really underrated piece for you, but is he a long-term piece next to Scotty Barnes in the front court? I'm not sure. You just brought in Brandon Ingram, so that also kind of raises the question as to where will my boy Noah Essengay get his minutes with Scotty Barnes and Brandon Ingram on the floor together, because Noah Essengay is not a 2 or a 1 or a 5. He's a 3 or a 4. So it'll be tough for him to get minutes. He's gonna have to kind of do his thing off the bench for some time. We're just gonna stick with Kaman Malach here, but I would not be surprised. I think, because obviously I have to do both sides. I have to do the side where I think that they're gonna pick, and I think I have to do the side where I want them to pick, or I think they should pick this player. I'm gonna choose my personal preference over what I think is gonna happen, because I actually think they're gonna pick Noah Essengay here. We're not going to do that, though. We're going to go with Kaman Malach just because I think it's a better pick for them. I think he's a better prospect. He's going to be taken at 9. At number 10, I think that. Ooh, Phoenix, man. This is an interesting pick for Phoenix, I'm not going to lie. Oh my god. You know what? I low-key want to undo that pick before. I might just go with Noah Essengate, man. Just thinking about it, bro. I just think that the Raptors just love taking swings on these prospects, bro. I think Noah Essengate. I think a team will fall in love with him, bro. I'm going Essengate. I'm going Essengate. This is my surprise of the draft. I don't know if it's gonna happen. I'm going Essengate. There's always a surprise in the top 10. And then that'll give me the option to go Kaman Balach for the Suns, who desperately need some center help. I like him over Derek Queen for them because he's like a true like big center at 7'2". So there we go. Number 11, Portland is on the clock. You got some options here for Portland, man. You got some options here if you're Portland. Interesting set of players available for you if you're Portland. But I think one player that I think you really need to just grab is Carter Bryant. I think he's rising up really fast, and I think Portland, they just need to just snag and just take a swing. This guy is a high upside piece for you, but he's also a guy who can have a high floor as well. So I like Carter Bryant with Portland. We're going to grab him here. Chicago at 12, I think could use some front court depth. Derek Queen is kind of just sitting, and he's going to fall right in your laps here at number 12. This is a no-brainer of a pick for me. Number 13, Atlanta is on the clock. I wouldn't mind if they traded this pick as well. I think they could trade this pick and move it. They just acquired Kristaps Porzingis, so they're going to be playing Porzingis, Jalen Johnson, Trae Young, Karis LeVert. Not Karis LeVert. This is Karis LeVert here. I'm sorry, Dyson Daniels all together. I think Atlanta could probably use some more, defense at that wing position. I'm gonna have him go with Colin Murray Boyles, maybe, or Asa Newell. One of the two is what I'm kind of thinking right now for them. Let's just go with this is tough, man, because the problem with both of these players is they don't really space the floor too well. So it's tough to kind of place either of them with Trae Young, but you know what? We're gonna take Asa Newell, a Georgia boy. That's the reason I'm taking him here, because he's from Georgia. Like that's the only reason, because that's the only reason I'm taking him over CMB here. I think both of them are really similar, like as far as where I gauge them with their skill levels and stuff like that. I feel like they're very like similar type of. They're not similar players, but they're like in the similar range when you're talking about the best players in the class. Asa Newell to the Hawks at 13. At 14, I love this pick for the Spurs I'm about to make right here. This might be a reach to some people. I don't think so. I'm grabbing Rasheer Fleming here for the Spurs. I think this is a great pick for them. Yeah, I think this is a really super good pick for Rasheer Fleming. The Thunder do have the 15th overall pick. I think you would be an absolute fool not to go with Nick Clifford if he's just available and staring at your face right here. I feel like this guy with Thunder, I mean, the rich just get richer. I mean, you guys know I've been a Nick Clifford guy from last year when I was saying he should have entered the draft last year. He went back to CSU and he absolutely had a breakout year with them. This guy can do it all, man. At 6'6", he's a Swiss Army knife player, can do everything. Shoot, pass, dribble, rebound. What else? I mean, 10 rebounds per game at 6'6" is unheard of. Good efficiency. I like this pick a lot. He's my favorite player in the draft, by the way, Nick Clifford, just to let y'all know. Over here, you got some options if you're Memphis. You just traded away Desmond Bane, so he's no longer on the team. You're really working with John Morant. You have Jaren and Zach Edey as in your front court. You're missing some shooting. You're missing some wing help. I think I'm going to have to go grab the best shooter in the class next to Trae Johnson, and that is Cedric Coward over here. I think this guy's an elite floor spacer. Crazy story. He kind of rose up from D3, got an offer from Duke, committed, but ended up deciding to go to the NBA. He was so good at the combine, like his stock just kept shooting up, and this guy's going to be a great fit in Memphis, man. I think he's going to fit their style. He fits their timeline. He's an older player as well, so he kind of is more ready for a team that wants to compete. Over here at 17, I think Minnesota is going to just end up going with a point guard here. I feel like you kind of have your wing set. You have your big set. I think Anthony Edwards is good. Mike Conley, we think you need some insurance for him if he gets older. Obviously, he's getting older, but you need some insurance when he's gone. Rob Dillingham is more of a 2 than a 1 to me. So I'm going to have him going with a true point guard, a guy who's a pass-first player, Yegor Demon. We're going to stop the slide. He's going to be able to develop in Minnesota. And a guy like Yegor Demon needs some good pieces around him. I think he's going to have plenty of those in Minnesota. As you move on to number 18, we got the Washington Wizards on the clock. I don't really mind the Wizards taking a big over here. We had him taking Fears. I wouldn't mind him taking a big, and the reason is I think Alex Sark kind of transitions more to a four, more as a four to me. We're gonna have him taking Georgetown Hoya, Thomas Sorber. I think Georgetown is kind of in the area of DC, so I think this is a good pick for the Wizards as well because they kind of are probably doing their homework and scouting on this player. I think Thomas Sorber is really, really good. He won't give you much shooting and floor spacing, but he plays really big. And I think he will help on the glass, especially next to Alex Sarr, who's not the best rebounder himself. So Thomas Sorber to the Wizards. And then we have Sixers over here at 19. This is interesting because there's a few directions that you could go here if you're Philly. I think you kind of have to stop the slide with Colin Murray-Boyles, though. And we're going to have Colin Murray-Boyles going at number 19. I feel like this is a good pick for them. They just need to stack up on wings and forwards, man. They're kind of lacking those more than anything to me. I think they're fine on guard. I think they're obviously good on big with Embiid. I thought Drummond and Bono played some good minutes for them as well. So we're going to take Colin Murray-Boyles, stop the slide here. The problem that I see with him is that I'm just not sure like how many teams he will fit on because he has a very unique skill set. But I think with Philly, with all the great players that they have, he'll be able to find a role. Just play winning basketball. I think that's the thing that you get with Colin Murray-Boyles is that he will hustle. He will play with great energy. He will do a lot of the little things that don't show up on the stat sheet at the least. So that's good for any team that wants to compete, and Philly is certainly one of those teams. Then we move on to my favorite team in the NBA, the Miami Heat. I know there's a lot of Heat fans in the comments. Let me know who y'all want us to draft, man. I know there's been a lot of buzz about Walter Clayton, but I think, first of all, I'm not even sure if this pick is going to be there for Miami. And I've realized I've only done one trade so far, but I think we're gonna keep it to one trade maybe, unless we kind of like go towards the end. But I think there's not really anybody else that I'm really trying to like do like trades for, unless it's a player or something like that. But we're gonna just keep the draft order how it is for the rest of the draft. I think we're gonna stick with one trade, although I think there will be more trades during the draft. At 20 though, we have Miami on the clock. I think Miami just needs a point guard for sure, but they also need a guy who will be a good fit with them. Like Clayton, the problem with Clayton, I think, is like you obviously get a lot of buckets with Clayton and Hero, but you're looking at right here. It says Clayton is a 2, and although he didn't play that at UF, Clayton does kind of resemble more of a combo guard to me than a 1. And the problem is now I think Clayton does have a really good shot to go here. Like if you've seen his interviews and stuff, he's talked about Eric Spoelstra so much. He went on UD's podcast. He is someone who was. He canceled all of his draft workouts after he worked out with the Heat twice. Like, there probably is a good chance that he ends up going to Miami if they end up keeping this pick. But I just don't like it as much as I like one other player here, just because I just don't think that with him and Hero in the backcourt, you don't really get enough rim penetration to me. I think you're getting a lot of pull-up shots. You're getting a lot of shots outside the paint. And I don't know if the shot diet is going to be able to be balanced between both those two players. I think next to Tyler Hero, you need someone who's going to attack the rim. And I think a guy who will do that for you is Jace Richardson. I think this guy is really, really good. You don't really have to worry about the size too much because Walter Clayton is not that much bigger, if that, than Jace Richardson. Now, he is small, don't get me wrong, but he plays a lot bigger than what he is. He's kind of like a pit bull, but Jace is a player that also has worked out with Miami. He's super athletic. He was a son of former NBA player Jason Richardson, so he's, he knows what this is about, man. I think he fits the culture. I think he's a great pick. I think this is a guy that will fit well basketball-wise and off the floor as well. We're going to grab him at number 21 or number 20. But at 21 with the Jazz, we had him taking Trey Johnson over here. I low-key kind of want to go with the big. I'm not sure if I should, though, but I think I will end up going with the big man here. I'm probably going to end up going with Danny Wolf. Just so they can have some versatility, next to, if Walker Kessler doesn't really pan out. I also do like Danny Wolf a little bit at the 4 as well. Danny Wolf has some sauce to him, you know what I'm saying? And I think Danny Wolf is going to be a really, really good addition to the Philadelphia, sorry, not Philadelphia, I was looking at this, the Utah Jazz. As you move on to the Philadelphia 76ers, I think they just have to keep stacking wings here. I'm not going to lie. I'm just going to have them taking Liam McNeely. I think Con Canupo, Liam McNeely, Colin Murray-Boyles, all of them are going to be able to play roles for you. I think that's the position they need the most. I think they need wing help. So I'm gonna have them take Liam McNeely. New Orleans took Yakichonis. Danny Wolf is gone. That was a guy that I was saying could have been a good fit for them. There's a few players that I really like. that I'm not really sure, like, you know, where they should go. New Orleans just needs anything. You know what I'm saying? I like Yves Missy. Dude, I like a lot of these players. Interesting. Very, very interesting. I'm trying to just see like who I think the Pelicans can just take. You know what I'm saying? You know what? We're gonna do this. We're going to do this. We took Yakichonis. Do I pair him up with his Illinois teammate? I don't know if that's the best fit. We're gonna go with Juwan Beringer, and we're just gonna stack up the bigs for New Orleans. I think Juwan Beringer is a riser in this draft. You have him, you have Yves Missy. Your center rotation should be set for the future. We get to OKC now. I think OKC could use some shooting and you could use some offense a little bit. I don't mind the Will Riley pick for them. There's also a player like Nolan Traore who's here as well. Yeah, there's a few pieces that are available that I'm not really like too mad about if I am the Pelicans or if I'm the Thunder. Sorry, the Pelicans were the last pick. But I'm just trying to think about, you know, who I think would be the best fit because this is a team that just came off a championship, right? Nick Clifford is going to provide a lot of win now presence for this team. You know what? I'm actually going to do this, and this is kind of out of left field. I'm going to go take Cam Jones, I think. And the reason I'm going to take Cam Jones, hear me out. The reason I'm going to take Cam Jones is Cam Jones is ready to win now. I think OKC have drafted so many guys who are just like project developmental pieces like Nikola Topic and Ousmane Dieng and all that. I think you just got to go with Cam Jones, guy who can help you win right now. And then this opens up Orlando to go grab Walter Clayton. I think Walter Clayton is a good fit in Orlando because not only is he from there, he gets to go back to the 407, but Walter Clayton is someone that they kind of need because they need spacing, they need shooting, they also need some more offense at the point guard position. So maybe if Jalen Suggs is not having a great game, Walter Clayton can just be a microwave guy off the bench for you. Brooklyn is here. We're going to have him taking Nolan Traore. I think this is a good pick for Brooklyn. First up, we're going to have him take that. And then we got one more pick. The reason I took Nolan Traore, by the way, is because they just don't have any point guards that I really trust long term. So, yeah, Nolan Traore is a good pick. This is interesting because there's a few different directions I could go with this. I think there's a few different directions you could go here. I'm gonna have him go with Ryan Kalkbrenner. I think you kind of need some insurance to see kind of where Nick Claxton's gonna head in free agency and all that. So Ryan Kalkbrenner is a true big from Creighton. He's been in Creighton for a few years now. He's a senior, but I feel like this guy will, at worst, be a high floor player in the league. I'm going to have him going here. And then with the Celtics, I'm going to have him take a big as well. I'm going to have him take the highest or the most skilled big in the draft. I'm going to have him take Maxime Reynaud. They just traded away Kristaps Porzingis. They have a hole at the center position. I'm going to have him go Reynaud. They can develop him a little bit as well. I love his game, man. He's so skilled. He talks trash. He's a very, very like feisty player. We're going to go Reynaud at 28. 29. I gotta stop disrespecting my boy. I gotta stop the slide here. Will Riley. I couldn't really find a great spot for him, but I think in Phoenix, with the guys around him, they trade away Kevin Durant. They don't really have like a lot of floor spacing left on this team. They have a lot of guys who demand the ball. Will Riley can play with and without the ball. One of the great traits of Will Riley is that he can bring the ball up and create his own shot sometimes, but he's a great floor spacer at his size at 6'8". Really high potential as well. I think this is a good draft for them to get Will Riley and Kaman Malach. Last but not least, we're going to have the Los Angeles Clippers going with Ben Seraph. I'd consider guys like Adu Thiero, Hugo Gonzalez, even like a Kobe Brea, who I thought wouldn't have been a bad fit over in Los Angeles. I think one guy I'm really high on as well is Elijah Martin from UF, but I think ultimately Ben Seraph, he kind of reminds me a little bit of James Harden with his Euro steps here and there. Maybe he can kind of learn from James and be a good piece in the NBA long term. But we'll take a few years for him to kind of pan out. It doesn't really shoot the ball too well, but if he's able to clean that up, can be a good solid rotational piece in the future. And that is going to conclude my 2025 NBA mock draft. We did have a trade, but hopefully you guys are satisfied with my picks here, man. I made a couple picks out of left field, but that's just kind of this, the specialty of the draft is that you're not going to get all standard things happening. You're going to get a lot of things that just happen randomly that you never know that could happen. Like you never would have predicted. But that's the beauty of the NBA draft. So don't really take this like extremely like not seriously, but just don't really like worry about like, you know, some of the picks here, because a lot of these picks are kind of like what I would do as well. So not a lot of these are rumor based, but some of them are and some of them aren't. So it's a balance of both. But hopefully I gave you guys like a good sense of why I'm taking each player. I think that was kind of what I'm trying to accomplish the most. But let me know who you guys want your favorite team to draft though. I'm super interested to see what you guys have on your mock drafts or on your like wish list of players or anything like that. And yeah, let me know what y'all think. I'll see you later as always. Have a nice day. Peace.